Jake leases a car. Marcus buys the exact same model. Both are convinced they've made the smarter financial decision. But what if I told you they're both mistaken, and the true cost difference is far greater than anyone imagines? To keep things fair, let's set the stage. Jake and Marcus each earn $55,000 annually. They're both eyeing the same vehicle, a $30,000 sedan, identical in model, trim, and color. They even walk into the same dealership on the very same day. The only divergence in their paths is the document they ultimately sign. Jake opts for a 3-6-month lease. He pays $2,000 at signing and commits to $299 per month. The salesperson assures him it's an excellent deal. Low monthly payments, a brand new car, full warranty coverage, and the promise that in 3 years, he can simply return the keys and walk away. It sounds simple, clean, and entirely hassle-free. Marcus, on the other hand, secures a 6-month auto loan at a 6% interest rate. His down payment is $3,000, and his monthly payment comes to $522. That's a significant $223 more than Jake pays each month. The salesperson doesn't even need to highlight this disparity. Marcus feels the financial pinch immediately. On day one, Jake leaves the dealership with heavier pockets and a lighter monthly obligation, feeling as though he's cleverly gamed the system. But there's a crucial aspect Jake hasn't grasped yet. The underlying structure of his deal fundamentally differs from Marcus's, extending far beyond the monthly payment. Every dollar Marcus spends buys him a tangible asset, a piece of ownership. Every dollar Jake spends, however, is merely renting that same asset. This fundamental distinction, over time, will translate into tens of thousands of dollars. For the next 3 years, Jake truly lives the dream. He enjoys a brand new car, that distinct new car smell, and the peace of mind of a full manufacturer's warranty. Mechanical issues, covered. Brake pads, under warranty, covered. Air conditioning failure in the heat of July, covered. Jake's only financial responsibilities are his lease payment, insurance, and fuel. No unexpected surprises, no anxiety-inducing repair bills appearing out of the blue. Marcus's experience, however, is a different story. He's diligently paying $522 each month, all while watching his car's value depreciate in real time. The moment he drove off the lot, his $30,000 vehicle was already worth approximately $27,000. By the end of year one, it's down to about $23,000. And by year two, perhaps $20,000. Compounding this, his loan balance hovers around $22,000. This means, for the initial 2 years, Marcus owes more than his car is actually worth, a situation known as being underwater. Psychologically, this feels terrible. Every payment seems to vanish into a financial void. Jake notices this, as does everyone around Marcus, and the verdict appears clear. Jake made the smarter choice. But let's crunch the actual numbers up to the end of year 3. Jake has paid his initial $2,000 down payment, plus 36 monthly payments of $299, totaling $12,764. Marcus, meanwhile, has paid his $3,000 down payment and 36 monthly payments of $522, amounting to $21,792. This means Jake has spent $9,028 less than Marcus. On paper, Jake is ahead by almost $10,000. This is no small difference, but it's precisely at year 3 that our story takes a significant turn. Jake's lease has concluded. He returns to the dealership with 3 primary options. First, he could purchase the car at its residual value, a predetermined price set by the dealer at the lease's inception. For a $30,000 car after 3 years, this typically ranges from $16,000 to $18,000. Second, he could simply walk away, hand back the keys, and owe nothing further. Third, and most commonly, he could lease a brand new car and restart the entire cycle. Jake, like 80% of lessees, chooses to lease again. A new car, a new contract, another $2,000 due at signing, another $299 per month, and another 6-month commitment. He's effectively back to month 1. The odometer reads 0, but his payment counter crucially does not reset. Now, let's turn our attention to Marcus. He's 36 months into his 60-month loan, with 24 payments still remaining. While this might feel frustrating, there's a profound difference. Marcus has a definitive end date, clearly marked on his calendar. Every payment he makes brings him closer to outright ownership of his vehicle. Conversely, every payment Jake makes brings him closer to returning the car and starting anew. This is the fundamental distinction between leasing and buying, a reality completely obscured by the focus on monthly payments. One is an endless conveyor belt. The other offers a clear finish line. At month 60, Marcus makes his final payment. That's it. Done. The car is unequivocally his title in hand, and with no more looming monthly payments. From this moment onward, Marcus's only car-related expenses are insurance, fuel, and routine maintenance. For an average sedan, this maintenance typically costs between $100 and $150 per month, covering oil changes, tire rotations, brake work, and occasional repairs. Jake, meanwhile, is still swiping his card for $299 every single month. He barely thinks about it. It has simply become an ingrained part of his financial life. This is the inherent danger of leasing. It normalizes a permanent car payment, transforming it into mere background noise. But even background noise carries a significant cost. Let's examine the scoreboard at the close of year 6. Jake has now completed 2 full lease terms. His total expenditure includes $2,000 down for lease, $10,764 in payments, another $2,000 down for lease 2, and another $10,764 in payments. This sums up to $25,528. Critically, he owns nothing, no asset, no title, just a stack of receipts. Marcus, by contrast, has spent $3,000 as a down payment plus $31,320 in loan payments, totaling $34,320 for the vehicle. However, he now has 0 monthly payments and possesses a car worth approximately $11,000 to $13,000. If we deduct this asset's value from his total expenditure, Marcus's effective cost stands at roughly $21,000 to $23,000. So, Jake has spent $25,528 with 0 assets, while Marcus has an effective cost of about $22,000 and a fully owned car in his driveway. The financial advantage has quietly, yet decisively, flipped. From this point forward, every passing month strengthens Marcus's financial position and weakens Jake's. The monthly payment is the figure the dealership prominently displays. It's on the commercial, the website, and the little card the salesperson slides across the desk. What they conveniently omit, however, is the comprehensive list of conditions tethered to that number. First, mileage caps. Most standard leases permit 16,000 to 19,000 kilometers per year. This sounds reasonable until you consider that the average American drives approximately 21,700 kilometers annually. This means the typical driver will exceed their limit even before the lease concludes. The penalty: usually 9 to 16 cents per kilometer over the cap. If you drive 8,000 kilometers over your limit during a 3-year lease, that's a surprise charge of $750 to $1,250 due instantly when you return the car. You won't discover this until the very end, when it appears on your final bill like an unexpected tax. Next, wear and tear. The dealership meticulously inspects the car upon its return. That parking lot door ding, the coffee stain on the back seat, the curb rash on the wheel from a tricky parallel parking attempt, all are billable. And normal wear and tear is defined by the leasing company, not by you. What you consider minor, they might deem a $300 charge. Then there are disposition fees. Many people are completely unaware of these. When you return a leased car and don't lease another one from the same dealer, you're charged a disposition fee, typically $300 to $500, simply for them to process and resell the vehicle. You are literally paying them to take their car back. Furthermore, if your life circumstances change mid-lease, you move to a city where a car is unnecessary, you lose your job, or your family situation shifts, exiting early can cost you the entire remaining balance of the lease. There's no simple escape. You are contractually locked in. These substantial costs are never reflected in that appealing $299 monthly payment, but they inevitably surface. However, presenting only the downsides of leasing would be an incomplete picture. Buying a car also carries significant costs that people often tend to downplay. Once the manufacturer's warranty expires, typically around year 3 or 4, the financial responsibility for repairs falls entirely on you. Brakes wear out, tires require replacement, belts crack, and the air conditioning compressor might fail on the hottest day of the year. Unlike a leased car, there's no one else to call. You're either paying a mechanic or learning to fix it yourself. For a typical sedan, annual maintenance costs average between $1,200 and $1,800 once the warranty period ends. Some years might only involve routine oil changes and new tires, while others could bring a $2,000 transmission repair that completely derails your budget. This unpredictability is what many buyers struggle with. At least with a lease, your monthly payment is fixed and known. And let's not forget that depreciation is very real. Your $30,000 car might be worth $20,000 after 2 years, and perhaps $12,000 after 5. That value doesn't go anywhere useful. It simply evaporates. The key distinction, though, is that depreciation slows down dramatically after the initial few years. A 5-year-old car doesn't lose value nearly as rapidly as a brand new one. Therefore, the longer you hold on to the vehicle, the less painful depreciation becomes. In this regard, time is truly the buyer's best friend. Now, let's bring the full narrative into focus. Over a decade, Jake will have leased 3 to 4 separate cars. Each leasing cycle costs him roughly $12,000 to $13,000 in payments and standard fees. When you factor in potential mileage overages, wear and tear charges, and disposition fees across multiple leases, Jake's total 10-year expenditure lands somewhere between $45,000 and $52,000. And at the end of year 10, Jake possesses no car that is truly his. He merely has access to one that was never owned. Marcus, in contrast, paid $34,320 for his initial loan. Following that, he spent an estimated $10,000 to $14,000 on maintenance and repairs over the subsequent 5 to 7 years of ownership. His total 10-year expenditure, therefore, is approximately $44,000 to $48,000. Crucially, he still has a car in his driveway. Older, certainly, but fully paid for, and still valued at $4,000 to $6,000. When you net it out, Marcus spent less and owns a tangible asset, while Jake spent more and owns nothing. The financial disparity over a decade ranges from $15,000 to $25,000, depending on specific lease terms, maintenance, luck, and how long Marcus retains his vehicle. And remember, this is just for one car cycle. Most individuals will repeat this car acquisition process 3, 4, or even 5 times throughout their adult lives. Multiply that financial gap by 5, and you're looking at a staggering 6-figure difference in lifetime wealth between someone who habitually leases and someone who consistently buys and holds. It would be disingenuous to claim that leasing never makes financial sense. There are indeed specific scenarios where the numbers unequivocally favor leasing. For instance, if you are self-employed or own a business, lease payments can be partially or even fully tax-deductible as a business expense contingent on the car's usage. This significant tax advantage can entirely nullify the ownership gap and, in some cases, render leasing the unequivocally smarter choice. Similarly, if you drive a luxury or high-performance vehicle where out-of-warranty maintenance costs can be genuinely exorbitant, leasing ensures you remain within the warranty window indefinitely. When a routine oil change costs $500 and a brake job runs $4,000, that continuous warranty coverage holds substantial financial value. Leasing a BMW, for example, is a vastly different proposition than leasing a Honda Civic. Finally, if you possess the unique discipline to take the $223 per month you save by leasing instead of buying and consistently invest it into an index fund averaging 8 to 10% annually, you could theoretically emerge ahead over a sufficiently long timeline. However, this level of financial discipline is rare. Be brutally honest with yourself. Would you genuinely invest that money, or would it simply be spent elsewhere? Yet, for the average individual driving an average car, buying and holding undeniably emerges as the superior financial strategy. It's certainly not the most thrilling answer. You won't find many viral TikToks celebrating a paid-off 5-year-old sedan, but the cold, hard math simply doesn't account for excitement. Both Jake and Marcus entered that dealership convinced they were making the intelligent move. Jake believed he was saving money, while Marcus thought he was building equity. Neither of them, however, truly sat down to project the numbers beyond the very first month. The real trap isn't found in leasing, nor is it inherent in buying. The true pitfall lies in making a $30,000 decision based solely on a monthly payment without ever pausing to consider the total cost over 5 years, 10 years, or even a lifetime. And if you're contemplating bypassing a loan entirely and paying cash up front, that's an entirely different discussion, and its conclusion might genuinely surprise you. But for now, the next time someone slides an attractive monthly payment across the desk that seems almost too good to be true, ask yourself this one crucial question. What does this actually cost me when all is said and done? Because ultimately, that is the only number that genuinely matters.